This episode is sponsored by City Traders Imperium. CTI is a prop trading firm looking for profitable Forex traders who need more capital. CTI will back its traders up to $2 million, which is the most in the industry, and thousands of traders worldwide are trading their capital remotely from their own home. It's the most flexible funding provider in the industry, where any strategy is welcome and overnight or weekend positions are allowed. Plus, CTI doubles your account every time you hit 10% net gain, which you can scale up to $2 million. Click the link in the description to find out why City Trader offer the best funded trader program in the industry, or visit citytradersimperium.com. All right, folks, here we are. We've got Momo back on the show. It's Build That Bot. We're about to reveal the robot I built from him after he was last on the show. We went through his mechanical strategy, or what he tried to make mechanical. So Momo, welcome back to the show first, and before we jump in and see what you've got for us.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me back again.
Okay, cool. Look, we're going to jump into a price chart. Momo's going to quickly walk us through what I was working on, and then I'm going to walk you through what I came up with, and we'll see a few test results, and we'll decide what we're going to do next. So guys, stay tuned. Here we go. Let's jump into the price chart.
All right. So basically, simple explanation of the strategy. We are looking for a clear trend. Right now on ADJPY, we can see that we are clearly on an uptrend. Let me zoom in all the way. Second thing we look for a clear key level right here. Right now, right here, we had a previous resistance level. Zoom in some more. We have price break the level cleanly. Price came back, retest the zone, and it gave us a clear engulfing candle setup right here. So we have a clear break and retest of the level and a clear engulfing candle right here. Right now we're in the H4 time frame. So we would enter at the close of the engulfing candle, have our take profit at the next high, and we'll have a stop loss below all these wicks down here. So this is a 1-to-2 risk reward ratio.
Cool. Brilliant. Well, look, right. So what I came up with almost looks nothing like this, but Momo gave me the sort of ideas behind it. So let's jump into my chart and we'll have a look at what we came up with. So basically what I found difficult was trying to find something that was consistent around the key levels, and really just making sure that these key levels were always sort of far enough apart and all this sort of stuff. My ideas I had originally didn't really work. So what I ended up doing was using a moving average as a key level, which isn't a key level in Momo's terms, in Momo's world, but it also gives us the trend as well. So I've got two moving averages. One is giving us the overall trend, which is a slower one, and a faster one. So you can see here, in this particular test, we got a 50 moving average, I think it's exponential, as a slow, and we've got the 3, which is really fast, as the fast. So we're waiting for the 3 to be below the 50 for a sell trade, and vice versa for a buy trade. So let's see if we can find a recent trade set up here. There should be one somewhere around here. Okay, cool. So to start off with, we've now got our, all we're looking for here is that engulfing pattern, which Momo talked about here. So you can see it quite clearly. We've got the bull candle closing above the bear candle, and at which point we enter the trade at the close of that. And instead of, and I tried to sort of move our stop loss, a bit further away, but I found it just it gave us too much away. So I ended up just putting it at the very bottom of either of these two candles. So whichever one was the lowest is where the stop is, and then we'd enter on the close of this candle, obviously. So the other things I added in, and I'll just zoom in here quickly, was we wanted it to I wanted to make sure that we weren't too close to the moving average. So I've given ourselves like a space that we need to be like a minimum away from the moving average. So just like a sort of area of space here that we've got distance from the moving average, so that it's not a little sort of, this thing hasn't just poked over and it sort of pokes back down. So I've made sure that. The other thing that filters out I think those are the main things. So that's the main thing that filters out the entry. So the crossover of the moving average, and then we're in. Now, what I noticed was we're often sort of getting in this trade, would be out of the trade, and then the moving average would cross over again. Price would come back and hit the moving average, eventually break through it. So another thing I added in was the number of trades we could take on the side of the moving average after the crossover. So there's a limit. So the limit is sort of, I wouldn't go any more than maybe 3. After 3, the trend sort of ends, and then it comes back and takes you out. So I've got that as well. Let me just chuck the settings up here so you can see. So to start off, sorry, there's a couple of other things. I didn't even mention these to you before, Momo. So one is the size of these candles need to be within, well, at least a minimum size. So we don't want something like, these two candles over here where you've got a bull and a bear with basically dojis. So you want them to be a little bit sizable. So I've had here a minimum of 5 pips for the candle 2 and 7 pips for the candle 1. So that's how we're doing that to make sure we've got a decent sized engulfing pattern. Then we've, the moving averages can be changed here. So this is where we're sort of setting the moving averages. The number of trades in that trend is here. So this one's set to 2. And what else can I tell you about? Oh, there's a whole bunch of other stuff once the trade enters. So whereas Momo's rules were pretty simple, this robot's got like tons of rules which it's looking at. So we enter the trade, market order, we're in that trade. So now we put our stop, as I mentioned, at the low here. Our take profit is a certain number of what we call R. So it's a percentage of the stop loss. So the stop loss is 1. This is actually 3 times the stop loss, okay? So in this particular thing, but that's completely variable. We can change that if we want. I'm just going to hide that. So what we're doing here is we're looking for our total take profit of 3, but we're going to exit before more often than not. And the first exit, and it's only got 2 exits at the moment. The first one's at 25% of the risk. So sorry, it's a 50% of the risk. So we've got 20 pips there risked, and we're exiting at 10 pips, and we're going to exit 50% of the trade. And this is seen in these two things here. So percentage closed 25. So we're going to exit 25% of the trade, and we're going to wait for it to be 0.5 R in profit. Okay, so we're exiting the first time. And that gets us out of most trades pretty quickly, at which point nothing happens with the stop loss. So we could easily come back and hit that stop. But what I've done is I've made it so that once we get to a certain number, and I think this was actually set to 1, certain number of risk in profit, we're going to move our break even to 2 pips in profit. Okay, so we're basically at break even. So what this is doing is going, okay, we're at 20 pips risk. When we get to 20 pips in profit, which isn't until about here, at that point, we're going to move our stop loss to break even. Okay, plus 2 pips. So we're now in a free trade. Okay, so there was a chance to get stopped out, didn't get stopped out, free trade. So that's the second thing that's going to keep us in this trade, or at least stop us from losing money. The third thing is we're looking at a fractal trail. A fractal trail, these little grey things here are fractals. So once this trade triggers, we're waiting for the next fractal before we move our stop up to below that fractal. So you can see here our little pink line there is our stop. So that's moved up next to that fractal there. And it's looking at a fractal from 3 candles away. So 1, 2, 3. This is your third candle. So we're gonna follow these fractals up, and the next fractal's up here. But at that point, we're already out of our trade at a take profit level here. There was one more thing, Momo. Can you remember what it was to keep us in this trade? I'm trying to think. Was there anything else? No, this was it. This was it. Just those 2 things: the fractal exit and the moving the stop to break even. And then we've obviously got the trades and the trend. Is there anything else I added in here? Pips away. I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. Brilliant. Okay, so that's how it works, right? And we're going to jump in and have a look at some of these test results. I might actually, before we do, we'll just have a look at a couple of the other trades, see if we can get some variation here in terms of what we've got. So here goes one where the profit didn't run as far. So we had our stop up here, took our profit at 0.5 R, first profit, and our second profit got stopped out at what looks like it's break even. So yeah, that's 2 pips. Okay, so that's essentially how it works. Right, so Momo, let's jump into these test results and have a look at what we came out with. Okay guys, just jumping in here on the video. Look, me and Momo spent about half an hour going through these test results. And I know it's not, I've just gone through it myself, and it's not good viewing. So what I'm going to do is quickly go through the ones I've picked to chuck up on a demo account. Then we're going to get into Momo's enhancements for the bot. So start off with, I'm going to tell you first of all how I build these things. So you might be interested in building some robots yourself or automating some or all of your trading. So let me just quickly show you how I do it. So I use this tool called FX Streamer. Now you can see here, this is Momo's bot in action on FX Streamer. It's basically a drag and drop editor. You drag and drop things on the screen and it creates these robots. So it's really cool. I teach a course on how to do it. Now, if you're completely new to automated trading and don't really know what I'm sort of talking about, don't really know how robots work, then I have got a free training that you could try here. It's called the Robot Builders Club free training, and you also get a robot to play with as well. So there will be a link underneath this video here to check that out. Now, look, the other thing I'm doing just now until probably the end of the month is I'm giving you a chance to get your hands on Nick Sean's robot. So I did the same thing with Nick. We've got a robot there. It's up in the Robot Builders Club. You get to see how I built it, exactly how it works, so you can tweak and enhance it yourself. So we had some great results here with Nick's robot. Here goes just one of the tests. So you're going to get access to that if you join up with a link below, and there's a coupon and a special deal. So here's the deal, guys. Basically, you're going to get access to my Robot Builders Club with a $500 discount. There is a link, a special link below the video. It's a 7-day course, so I've actually condensed it down. It was 21 days. Now I've condensed it down to a 7-day course. So you're going to go from not knowing how to build robots to being able to build robots like a pro in just 7 days. We've got a community, a fantastic community. I'm doing live Q&As to help you along, get you over those hurdles. There's 20 pre-made robots, over 20 in fact, that you can get your hands on when you join. You can actually import them into your own FX Streamer, play with them. So you can go, back here, chuck them in here, play with them, enhance them with the skills and knowledge that you've learnt. And basically, you're going to create something that is personal to you, unique to you, and I'll help you get to these, test results where you can start seeing things really making money in the markets. Now, guys, let's just jump back into these, talking about test results, let's jump back into the demo test, and let's see which ones we picked from Momo Strategy. So, guys, here we are. They're all using 2% risk per trade. They're on a $100,000 account. So forget the finances for now. It's really all about sort of, managing your risk. Now, this is one we picked, NZD JPY. It more than doubled the account in 5 years, and it had a profit factor of 1.41, 500 trades, which is good, but it also counts the partial trades, right, where it exits at whatever it was, 25% of the position at 1R. So it counts that as a trade. So it's probably more like 300 actual trading positions. The drawdown here is 16%. So now what that means is it's not drawdown on the trade. It's drawdown from a peak to a trough of this growth curve, okay? So that was at a maximum 16%. So you want to try and keep that as low as possible. The win rate was 74%, which is good, but that would have been propped up by the partial exits of the trades, okay? So you got to keep these things in mind. Now, this one we're going to add. So this was NJ. The New Zealand pairs really did well. So, good on you, New Zealand. NZD, USD. This also did well. This grew the account by 50%, but it had a higher profit factor of 1.59. Still, the trades weren't massive at 240. So whether or not this will work in a longer time, who knows? 75% win rate, but the drawdown was really low. So it was only 7.74. Okay, so we're going to add that one into the mix. Probably won't trade as much. EJ was also good. Probably the same as what we just saw with the NZD USD. 11% drawdown. Win rate was a little less at 73%. Had more trades though, so a nice looking equity curve. So we're going to add that in the mix. We're going to add this one, which looks a little bit different. So a lot of the smaller wins, the bigger wins came few and far between. But it had a good profit factor of 2.01, which is huge. It's really good. 154 trades, which, okay, not that many, but an 80% win rate. So we're going to keep that one in the mix with a very low drawdown of 9.6%. And this is our sort of mega one. We're going to chuck in here. I don't know if it's going to work because it's just ridiculous. We grew the account by, 580%. In 5 years. Profit factor wasn't great at 1.27, but this was the only one trading on the 15-minute chart. So it had over 1,400 trades. So a lot of trades. So it might work, or I may have screwed it up somehow. It's on gold, so it can be a little tricky with gold. Now the win rate was 70% and the drawdown was 38. So it did have some big drawdowns, but that was probably because we're scaling the positions as we go. Now, last but not least, I combined these tests together, right? So not the gold. I didn't put the gold in because it is a bit ridiculous, and whether or not we get there, time will tell. Now, this is all the tests combined, those 4 tests. So if we get something like this, I mean, this did 260%, for over 5 years using 2% risk. And, you know, the numbers are ridiculous here. We got to $26 million, right? $26.5 million. So that's risking 100 grand. Probably not going to do that, but we're going to chuck it on a demo account and see how it goes. Anyway, but for now, let's jump back into the video with Momo, and we're going to walk through some of the enhancements whilst this demo account's ticking over, and we're going to see what we can do to possibly improve this robot. Let's jump back in here and have a look. So I think you had some ideas. What was the first idea around maybe a better entry price?
So we can enter at a certain percentage of the engulfing candle. So let's say about 50% of that candle, we can put a limit order over there.
Okay.
So we can have a better entry and a better risk reward as well.
Okay, so what Momo's saying is basically we could choose a certain part of this. Well, you're using your mouse there. You got control.
Yeah,
it's like Star Wars lightsabers.
Remote control. Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, saying basically instead of entering there at the close, we wait for price to come back to a certain area. We can make that variable, so we could, you know, try 25%. We could try right at the open, or maybe even at the high, something like that. We can make it a variable to come back and see if we can get a better price, and therefore it'll basically make our stop loss shorter and all this sort of stuff. So I think that's a great addition. I'll add that in. So another thing we could do is we could have, especially if the close is below this moving average, which it should do, and we can even check that. If we move back into the moving average, we take the price. So this isn't, so we take the trade. So that's not a great example, but okay, yeah. So what we're saying here is if price now comes back into the moving average, the fast one, we take the trade. And we're going to save ourselves, like in this case, it's only 1 pip, but it might be, you know, significant in some other examples. So like this one here, you'd save yourself 3 pips, and you'd have a better risk to reward. So you all of a sudden you're going to, you know, really probably, well, you're still going to be risking the same amount, which is like 2.5% in these tests, and you're going to have, you know, way better R on those trades. So I think that's another one we could do. And finally, I think we talked about an exit, which was having another partial exit. So for example, this trade here was pretty good, but having an exit sort of somewhere around here at another percentage will give us an extra chance to get out of that trade. So this one's currently exiting 50% at 1R. We could have 25%. We could have another 25% at 2R, for example, or 1.8R or something, and then let the other stuff run till it gets either take profit or whatever. So yeah. I think that those 3 things, and let's just pop them up here on the screen so you guys can see exactly what they are. So what we'll do is add those in, and we'll see how the spot goes. In a couple of months' time, we'll get you back on here, Momo.
Definitely.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for watching. Momo, before we head off, what's the best way for the guys to get hold of you?
They can check me out on Instagram, Momo Forex, or on Twitter, Momo Forex. Best way is Instagram, Momo Forex.
Brilliant. Well, look, guys, thanks for watching. Now, do remember, if you do want to see what happens when we update the spot, and also all the other stuff going on here at Trading Nut, then please hit subscribe, hit the notifications bell, click all, and we'll see you in the next video.